Ladies and gentlemen, this match is proudly brought to you by Octagon Ireland. 3 rounds in the super lightweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. This man is a mixed martial artist, weighing in under 165 pounds. Fighting out of Meath, presenting Sean Nolan. Making his way to the cage, legacy cage, fighting out of the red corner. This man is a mixed martial artist, weighing in under 165 pounds. Fighting out of SPG Clonmel, presenting Gera Undruls.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome along to Cage Legacy 14. This is Nolan O'Keefe, and I am joined by Andrew McGatton and Phil Campbell. First bout on this main card is in the super lightweight division. We have Sean Nolan, who has just been kicked out of balance by Gera Undruls.
Undruls did a good job not to dive in straight away, was calculated with what he's doing, but right now finds himself up against the cage. Good pressure being exhibited here by Sean Nolan. They're in that tiring 50-50 position, and we say this every time, Noel, but it's one of the most tiring aspects in mixed martial arts, where you have to do that wrestling up against the cage. Potential trip here, should Sean see it. Good job from Gera to get the reversal in there. A little bit of separation, potential for a knee right up the middle.
Uses that for the trip though, Gera. Looking for the neck. Careful, give away that back.
Gera does have a solid ground game. Recently, double gold in gi and no gi in the 2021 Dublin International Open, so he may be trying to get that to the ground. A blue belt in his own right, so knows what he's doing there.
That's twice he's taken the balance with the leg kicks of Nolan.
He's keeping those hands dangerously low. Has to be wary of those straights coming in from Nolan.
Nice knee. Pinpoint, driving it into the torso, just like a spear.
Nolan doing a good job of maintaining that pressure against the cage.
It's all about head position. We always talk about head position in this, and just looks for the trip, but separation here.
It's a big shot there.
Big deep breath by Gera. Nolan using that teep.
Oh, nice straight shots again from Nolan, throwing those right down the pipe.
That's a nice single plumb and just pulling Nolan down for that knee. I thought for a moment there that Gera was taking deep breaths and potentially feeling the pace here, or an adrenaline dump in the opening round. Nice inside leg kick work here by Nolan. That one kind of checked those high Gera in response.
Yeah, consistently finding gaps for the hands as Nolan following up well with the leg kicks.
Seems to have found his range here and has settled in this part of the fight. And is landing the cleaner shots. Nice little right hand, just as they were hand fighting. That's a beautiful straight left as well. And there's that balance again. That's the third time here. But Gera's certainly packing some punch in that kick, Phil.
As again, it's that low calf kick that we've seen recently become so popularized in mixed martial arts that has such a debilitating effect, and it's the accumulative damage that the low kick does.
Ladies and gentlemen, no need to adjust the volume on your stream in between rounds due to copyright infringement. We unfortunately cannot speak in between rounds with copyrighted music playing.
Which is where we shine, though.
They are the best moments, really. We discussed fashion, walkout music. Sean Nolan is really trying to take over this fight. And again, using that inside leg kick.
But the power behind the leg kick, again, Nolan's landing the greater frequency of the leg kicks, but the power of those leg kicks really seems to come from Gera.
Goes high,
Mixing it up nicely, initiates the clinch here. Again, in that 50-50 over-under position against the cage, and potential for another trip there should he choose, but Again, it's a pick your poison kind of position. You know, do you exert all that energy trying to work for the underhooks?
And that straight left hand right down the pipe is working wonders for Nolan as well. He's really found the range in striking, and you can't blame Gera for wanting to close the distance and keep this in close quarters.
He seemed to frustrate him a lot in the first round with wrist control.
Yeah.
After Nolan landed a couple of clean shots, he was like adamant on gripping just below his glove to try and stop the shots because he was winning at range. But he now needs to keep the fight in this sort of a grappling range if he wants, I think, any success in the last round and a half.
Nice work to the midsection, but again, Nolan with those straight shots.
Crowded his work a little bit maybe in that case, Nolan, and it allowed Gera to tie him up.
I like that Gera creates these little pockets of space for the knees. Very intelligent. Potential here for a big knee from Nolan if he chooses, but Gera every time pops that knee right up the middle.
In the corner of Sean Nolan feel that Gera Undruls are starting to fade in this one, starting to feel the pace of the fight.
If you're in the corner of Nolan, you're going to be telling him to increase that pace incrementally, create a pace that your opponent can't keep up with.
Watch for the little right hook here from Nolan if they do separate. He's thrown on the last couple of occasions.
Gera trying to pop down on that whizzer, keep himself standing. Gera again trying to do damage to the midsection and Nolan with those knees, and scores a takedown of his own.
And used the momentum beautifully there, Sean Nolan. Battle for position to try and sit up here.
Potential for an armbar here if he swings that leg across the head. Nice work from Gera to establish the position.
And steps across, trapping that left arm of Sean Nolan. Not a lot of time left to work with here.
And I was going to say, realistically, Andrew, in a position like that, Gera really needs to get the work, doesn't he?
Yeah, I actually, when you said armbar, I was thinking the same, but there was a triangle wide open for him there in terms of freeing his bottom leg. When you're in that sort of overhook constructed position, you just
You can officially finish your point now.
well, something better come up in between there. The corner of Sean Nolan were keeping an eye on the opposite corner there. They realised he needed a stool. He was a little bit tired. He was breathing quite heavy. And maybe that's going to give Sean the extra little bit of burst of energy in this final round, knowing he is the fresher fighter.
That's something we don't see too often in regional MMA, is the stool. So when it comes in, as you say, it's a big indication of fatigue.
Again, a large portion of this fight has been contested in the clinch.
And Gera looks nice at range. He definitely has the single shots that he's landing, and he seems confident in his head movement. But until you're in that position of you're being overwhelmed, sometimes your things are being shut down, you lose your confidence in certain positions.
Speaking about losing your confidence there, the takedown was denied. That's bound to give Nolan a little bit more confidence, knowing that he can defend that takedown. Good knees to the midsection once again.
It's been a real battle in this position throughout the 3 rounds.
Right, for my money thus far, it has been Nolan who has had the more dominant positional control against the cage.
Probably from halfway point of round 1,
yeah.
it's really the pendulum has swung with Nolan.
So it's really incumbent upon Gera now to create a little bit of separation and get some real offense in here to stick in the mind and the eyes of the judges.
And to your point, Andrew, he was landing clean shots at distance. He looked physically, on observation, he looks the bigger man.
Yeah.
And he needs to utilize that range.
And to pick up on something that one of you said about his jiu-jitsu credentials in terms of a recent tournament, it's something that we've seen time and time again at the amateur circuit, that sometimes pure jiu-jitsu doesn't translate over into mixed martial arts when fundamental wrestling or grappling or cage control comes into play. It can really nullify it and makes the person more frustrated that they can't get their game off.
I was going to say to you, as a credentialed jiu-jitsu practitioner, can it create bad habits if somebody is constantly competing in jiu-jitsu and perhaps maybe neglecting the fundamental aspects of mixed martial arts?
I definitely think that it's a worthwhile thing to compete as often as possible.
Yeah.
The best example where it's worked well is Ian Gary. Ian Gary was regularly competing on the domestic circuit in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, gi and no gi, when he was coming up as an amateur fighter. But if you fall in love with modern Jiu-Jitsu, there's no gi, there's no lapels, there's nothing like that when it comes to a fight.
Again, solid positional control, really just jarring that head. against his opponent is Nolan. And as we know so often in mixed martial arts, Nolan, where the head goes, the body follows.
This really has been the story of the fight, especially round 2 and now 3. Thus far, Nolan is winning this battle.
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. You're not going to draw me into that. I might by mistake later on. I feel sorry for Gera in the sense that this overhook is helping to stop Nolan from moving forward, but he can't afford to let go of the overhook, otherwise Nolan's going to progress further. So in that stalemate, the guy pressing the person up against the cage is going to get the decision.
And that is where we are going to your judges' scorecards.